Preface. Christian reader, it is now 6 years past since I was brought under an engagement of promise for the publishing of some meditations on the subject which thou wilt find handled in the ensuing treatise. The reasons of this delay, being not of public concernment, I shall not need to mention. Those who have been in expectation of this duty from me, have, for the most part, been so far acquainted with my condition and employments, as to be able to satisfy themselves as to the deferring of their desires. That which I have to add at present is only this, having had many opportunities, since the time I first delivered anything in public on this subject, which was the means of bringing me under the engagements mentioned, to reassume the consideration of what I had first fixed on, I have been enabled to give it that improvement, and to make those additions to the main of the design and matter treated on, that my first debt is come at length to be only the occasion of what is now tendered to the saints of God. I shall speak nothing of the subject here handled. It may, I hope, speak for itself, in that spiritual savor and relish which it will yield to them whose hearts are not so filled with other things as to render the sweet things of the gospel bitter to them. The design of the whole treatise thou wilt find, Christian reader, in the first chapters of the first part, and I shall not detain thee here with the perusal of anything which in its proper place will offer itself unto thee. Know only, that the whole of it hath been recommended to the grace of God in many supplications, for its usefulness unto them that are interested in the good things mentioned therein. J. O. Oxon. Ch. Call. July 10, 1657. To the reader. Alphonsus, King of Spain, is said to have found food and physic in reading Livy, and Ferdinand, King of Sicily, in reading Quintus Curtius. But thou hast here nobler entertainments, vastly richer dainties, incomparably more sovereign medicines. I had almost said, the very highest of angels' food is here set before thee, and, as Pliny speaks, permista delicis auxilia, things that minister unto grace and comfort, to holy life and liveliness. Such is this treatise, this, which is the only one extant upon its great and necessary subject. This, whose praise hath been long in the churches, and hath gone enamelled with the honourable reproaches of more than one English Bolsick. This, whose great author, like the sun, is well known to the world, by eminence of heavenly light and labours. This, which, as his many other works, can be no other than manna unto sound Christians, though no better than stone and serpent to Socinians and their fellow commoners. Importunity hath drawn me to say thus much more than I could think needful to be said concerning any work of Dr. Owen's, needful in our day itself, a day wherein, pasci sacras scripturas, plures nomina rerum, plurimi nomina magistrorum sequutur. Few do cleave to the holy scriptures, many do rest in scholastic senseless sounds, and most men do hang their faith upon their rabbis' sleeves. This only I add. Of the swarms every day rising, there are few books but do want their readers. Yet if I understand aright, there are not many readers but do want this book. In which censure I think I am no tyrant, which the philosopher names the worst of wild beasts. I am sure I am no flatterer, which he calls justly, the worst of tame beasts, kai tata men de tata. Let the simple souls, the possessimi lectionis mancipia, who take the doctrine of distinct communion with the divine persons to be a new-fangled one and uncouth, observe the words of the Reverend Samuel Clarke, the annotator on the Bible, in his sermon on 1 John I. 7. It is to be noted, that there is a distinct fellowship with each of the persons of the Blessed Trinity. Let them attend what is said by Mr. Lewis Stuckley, in his preface to Mr. Polwheel's book of Quenching the Spirit. It is a most glorious truth, though considered but by a few, that believers have, or may have, distinct communion with the three persons, Father, Son, and Spirit. This is attested by the finger of God, and solemnly owned by the first and best age of Christianity. To name no more, let them read heedfully but the second chapter of this treatise, and it is hoped that then they shall know longer, contra antidotum insanire, no longer rage against God, holy medicinal truth, as Saint Austin saith he did while he was a Manichee, testifying, in so many words, that his error was his very God. Reader, I am thy servant in Christ Jesus. Daniel Bird.